Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're wading into some waters that I think a lot of people find pretty intimidating.
Oh, absolutely. It's the kind of question that usually gets you uninvited from dinner parties.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a massive stack of research here on the table. We're talking chapters on comparative religion, some really dense charts breaking down worldviews, and cultural commentary.
And all of it circles around one very specific, very prickly question.
Right. And that question is Christianity actually unique? Or, and this is kind of the vibe I get from my news feed, my neighbors, pretty much everywhere.
Just another flavor of the same spiritual ice cream.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. The idea that everyone is eating the same thing, just with different toppings, the classic idea that all roads lead up the exact same mountain, we're taking different hiking trails.
Which is the prevailing narrative of our time. And honestly, it's a very comfortable narrative.
It feels polite.
It feels polite. It feels safe. But the sources we are looking at today are arguing that while it might feel safe, it doesn't actually hold up when you look at the data.
And before we even get to the theology of it all, I want to start where the source material starts, with the context we are currently living in. Because, this conversation isn't happening in a vacuum.
No, it's not. The source calls it the shrinking world.
Right. And it isn't just about geography, is it?
No, it's about psychology. It's about how we experience the world.
The source throws out this stat that honestly stopped me in my tracks. It says you can reach pretty much any spot on Earth within 24 hours from your local airport.
Think about what that means for the human experience. For 99% of human history, if you were born in a village in, say, 12th century France or rural China or the Andes, you lived and died in that village. Your worldview was never really challenged because everyone you ever met believed exactly what you believed.
The other was just a myth, like a monster on the edge of the map.
Exactly. But now,
the source mentions there are over 563,000 international students in the U.S. alone in a single year. I mean, I see this just walking through the mall near my house. It's a total kaleidoscope.
you see saris, you see turbans,
I hear 3 or 4 different languages before I even make it to the food court.
and that's just physical proximity. The source also talks about the living room experience.
Right, the digital side of it.
You open your laptop or turn on the TV, and you aren't just reading a delayed, written report about the Middle East. You're watching a live stream of a conflict.
You're watching the Dalai Lama give a TED Talk from your couch.
We are visually and digitally connected to every single worldview on the planet, instantly.
And the source argues that this proximity, this closeness, does something to us. It triggers what it calls the catalyst question.
It's inevitable. When you are face-to-face with someone who is kind, intelligent, maybe even more disciplined and moral than you are, but they believe something radically different,
It rattles you.
it forces you to ask, why aren't you normal like me?
Which sounds terrible when you say it out loud.
It exposes our subconscious bias. Right. We think our way is the default setting for humanity. But then it goes deeper than culture. You start asking the big theological questions.
Like, do we all worship the same God?
And the really big one? Is Jesus really the only way?
That is the sticking point. Because saying yes to that today feels, well, it feels mean. It feels arrogant.
It feels like bigotry. That is the charge that gets leveled immediately.
Great.
Who are you to say you're right and billions of people are wrong?
So what is our mission here today? Are we just trying to arm the listeners with arguments to win a debate online? Because, I don't know, that feels a bit hollow.
No, and I'm really glad you brought that up. The source makes a fascinating pivot right here. The goal isn't to prove Christianity is better so we can gloat. The goal is to see if exploring this uniqueness is actually the fuel for a deeper love and daily devotion to Christ.
So it's not about arrogance at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
There's a quote in the source material that frames this entire episode perfectly. It says, Christians are not arrogant. They are just one beggar telling another beggar where to find food.
I really, really like that image. It changes the power dynamic completely. It's not, I'm the king and you're the peasant.
Right. It's, hey, I found bread. You look hungry. Come eat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to understand what this bread actually is and why it's different from the other options on the menu, we have to look at the ingredients.
We have chapters on logic, on the mechanics of what they call salad bar religion, and some very detailed charts comparing worldviews.
Let's start with the logic. Segment 1. The source calls this the logic of exclusivity.
Or truth versus tolerance.
Right. Because the default setting in our culture, and I catch myself doing this too, is what the source calls salad bar religion.
It's the perfect metaphor for the modern age. You go to a salad bar, and you pick what you like.
A little of this, a little of that.
You take a scoop of Jesus for the love and forgiveness, because that tastes sweet. You take a scoop of Buddha for the mindfulness and meditation, because that feels healthy.
Maybe a dash of secular humanism, because you really trust science.
And you mix it all up into a bowl that suits your personal palate.
It feels inclusive. It feels nice. So why is that a problem?
The source argues that while it feels nice, it actually violates reality. It brings up the law of non-contradiction.
Okay, hold on. I haven't taken a philosophy class in years. Break down the law of non-contradiction for us.
It's a fundamental rule of logic. It simply states that something cannot be both A and non-A at the same time and in the same sense.
Give me a real-world example of that.
The source uses a bus analogy that I think is brilliant. Imagine you and I are standing on a curb. I look down the street and I say, there is a bus coming.
Okay.
You look down the exact same street and say, there is no bus coming.
So we have a clear disagreement.
We do. Now, in a salad bar world, or a purely relativistic world, we would say, hey, that's your truth. My truth is no bus. Let's just respect each other's truth and cross the street.
That sounds incredibly dangerous.
It's fatal. Because the bus is real. We cannot both be right. And more importantly, we cannot act on both views simultaneously.
If I believe the bus is not coming, I walk into the street.
And if I believe it is, I stay on the curb. You cannot hold both views and survive crossing the road.
So applying this to religion, if Christianity says Jesus is God and Islam says Jesus is not God.
They are mutually exclusive claims about reality. They cannot both be true. It's the bus. Either he is or he isn't.
You can't just pat everyone on the back and say, you're both right, because that violates the basic laws of logic.
Exactly.
But wait, I hear this counter argument all the time. People will say, it doesn't matter what you believe or what the facts are, as long as you are sincere.
The sincerity argument.
Yeah.
He's a good person. He really believes it.
Right. Isn't that enough? If I sincerely believe there's no bus, shouldn't that count for something?
The source uses a pretty chilling analogy to dismantle that idea. It's called the medicine cabinet analogy.
Oh man, this one was dark. Do you want to take this one or should I?
Go ahead, lay it out.
Okay, so imagine a nurse in a hospital ward, maybe 100 years ago. She is taking care of a newborn baby, and she needs to put drops in the baby's eyes to prevent infection.
Silver nitrate, which was common practice back then.
Right. She sincerely loves this baby. She sincerely wants to help. She is a wonderful, kind person.
But in the dark, she reaches for the wrong bottle.
Yeah. She grabs a bottle of carbolic acid instead of silver nitrate, and she puts the acid in the baby's eyes. Now, she was completely sincere. She had absolute faith in the bottle she held.
But her sincerity didn't save the baby from blindness.
Because the object of her faith was wrong.
Exactly. That is the hard truth the source is getting at. Faith is only as valid as the object in which it is placed.
If I have 100% faith that a cardboard box will hold my weight if I stand on it, my sincerity won't stop me from crashing right through the cardboard.
The source is arguing that truth is objective, like the chemical composition of that liquid in the bottle. It's not subjective, like your favorite flavor of ice cream.
That is a crucial distinction. We tend to treat religion like ice cream. I like chocolate, you like vanilla, no big deal. But the source is saying we should treat it like medicine or gravity.
Right. And that brings up the poem by Steve Turner mentioned in the notes, Creed. Did you read that part?
I did. I actually laughed out loud reading it, but it's a stinging kind of laugh. It's sharp satire.
It captures the modern salad bar mindset perfectly. He writes, "We believe in Marxford and Darwin."
Mashed together like it's one giant multi-headed god of the modern university.
Exactly. And then he says, and this is the part that I think really nails the average person's view, he says, "We believe that Jesus was a good man, just like Buddha, Muhammad, and ourselves. We believe he was a good moral teacher, although we think his good morals were bad."
That is such a sharp call out. We love the idea of Jesus. You know, the guy who hugged lepers and was nice to kids.
But we don't actually like the Jesus who talked about hell or sexual ethics or absolute judgment.
We edit him. We take the parts that fit our modern sensibilities and discard the rest. And then the poem ends with this logical loop. We believe that there is no absolute truth, accepting the truth, that there is no absolute truth.
Which, if you think about it for 2 seconds, falls apart. If there is no absolute truth, then that statement can't be true either.
It's self-defeating. It's a snake eating its own tail.
So, to try and ground this, the source makes a distinction between social votes and inherent truths. It uses the analogy of traffic laws versus gravity.
This is really helpful for understanding why we can't just agree to disagree on everything. Traffic laws, like stoplights, are socially determined.
We vote on them.
We could change red to mean go and green to mean stop tomorrow if we all agreed it's a consensus. We decide the speed limit.
But gravity is inherent. You can get 100% of the world's population to vote that gravity is suspended for the next hour.
You can be incredibly sincere about it.
You can hold hands and sing songs about it. But if you jump off a roof,
You're going down. The pavement does not care about your vote.
the source argues that spiritual laws, things like the nature of God, the reality of sin, the need for atonement, they are like gravity. They are fixed realities. We don't get to vote on them. We just have to align ourselves with them.
So if we accept the premise that we can't just mix and match, that there is a bus coming or not coming, we have to look at what makes a Christian bus different. And this leads us to segment 2, the Great Divide.
This is where the rubber meets the road. This is the emotional core of the episode for me.
The source boils this down to 2 very simple words: do versus done.
This is the concept that usually turns the light bulb on for people. Because if you look at world religions from a distance, they do look the same.
They all have a moral code.
They all tell you to be nice, give to the poor, don't kill people.
The golden rule: treat others how you want to be treated. Confucius said it, Buddha said it, Jesus said it.
Right. And if that's all religion is, just a list of good advice, then they're all the same.
Yeah.
But the Force argues that the problem with humanity isn't a lack of information.
We know what we're supposed to do.
Exactly. I know I shouldn't eat the donut. I know
Yeah.
I shouldn't lose my temper with my kids. I know I should be generous. Knowing isn't the problem. The problem is I lack the power to actually do it consistently.
So the golden rule, without the power to achieve it, is just guilt.
It's a crushing weight. It's a standard you can never quite meet. The source says the Christian distinction is that Jesus didn't just come to teach the golden rule. He came to resolve the fact that we broke it.
There's an analogy here that I found really, really helpful. The life preserver.
This is a classic.
Yeah.
Picture a man drowning in the ocean. The waves are crashing. He's going under. He is completely exhausted.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
The source says that other religions are like a person standing safely on a boat, shouting instructions at the drowning man. Kick your legs, cup your hands, breathe rhythmically. If you do this, you can make it to shore.
Which is valid advice. I mean, that is how you swim.
It is. But it's useless advice if the man is already drowning. He doesn't need a swimming lesson. He needs a rescue.
And that's the difference.
That's the claim. Christianity isn't the guy on the boat shouting instructions. Christianity is the guy who jumps into the water. Jesus is the life preserver. He does the saving.
The drowning man doesn't save himself by swimming well. He is saved by clinging to the rescuer.
And that leads to the spelling lesson the source mentions.
Huh?
It's a bit of a cliche, but it works.
It really does. Religion, just general religion, is spelled D-O.
Do, meaning it's on me.
Right. Do the rituals, do the prayers, do the pilgrimage, do the meditation.
And the underlying anxiety of do is always, have I done enough?
You never know.
You can never know. Is your karma balanced? Did you pray with enough sincerity? It's a treadmill. But Christianity, it is spelled D-O-N-E.
Done.
Done means the work was accomplished outside of you. Jesus said, it is finished, on the cross. He didn't say, I got the ball rolling, now you guys bring it home. He said, it is finished.
That shift from do to done, that's not just theology. That's deeply psychological. That changes how you live your everyday life.
It's huge. If your salvation depends on what you do, your relationship with God is transactional. It's based on fear and performance. If I mess up, the boss fires me.
But if it's done,
then your relationship is based on gratitude. You don't do good works to get saved. You do good works because you are saved. That changes everything. You wake up wanting to please your Father, not terrified of a judge.
But to really feel the weight of that done, I think we need to look at what the do actually looks like in other systems. The source material has these incredibly detailed charts on worldviews. Let's take a tour, segment 3.
Let's walk through them. And we should say we are looking at these with respect. These represent billions of people. But we are looking for the structural differences, the distinct mechanisms of salvation.
Let's start with Buddhism. I think in the West, we have a very Starbucks version of Buddhism.
We do. We think of it as just being calm, meditating, maybe having a nice garden statue. It seems very compatible with a modern secular lifestyle.
But the source paints a much more rigorous picture. What is the actual goal of Buddhism?
The goal is nirvana. But nirvana isn't heaven in the Christian sense. It's not a place of joy and reunion with loved ones. The word literally implies the blowing out of a candle.
Blowing out the candle.
It's the extinction of desire. The core teaching the Four Noble Truths, says that life is suffering, and suffering is caused by desire, by tanha, or grasping. We grasp at life. We grasp at our own identity.
So the solution is to stop wanting.
The solution is to eliminate the desire that causes the suffering. The Eightfold Path is a rigorous system of right views, right resolve, right speech, right action, all designed to dismantle the self.
So the ultimate victory is to cease to exist as a distinct person.
Essentially, yes, absorption into the void. And notice a key difference the source points out. Buddha didn't claim to be God. He was agnostic about God.
The system isn't about a relationship with a creator who loves you. It's a self-rescue mission through self-annihilation. That is bleak when you really think about it. I mean, I get the logic of it. If you don't exist, you can't suffer. But it's vastly different from, I go to prepare a place for you.
Very different.
Okay, what about Hinduism? The source charts mention the cycle of karma.
Hinduism is fascinating because it's so vast and complex.
Yeah.
But the core mechanic, as the source charts show, is karma. It's the ultimate Doa system.
How so?
It's a cosmic ledger. Every action has a reaction. If you live a good life, you move up the ladder in the next reincarnation.
Yeah.
Maybe you become a Brahmin or a god. If you live poorly, you move down. You might come back as a servant or an animal.
The source mentions this is why strict Hindus won't kill insects.
Right. That spider on the wall. That could be your great uncle who had a bad run. But think about the emotional weight of that. It is a system of pure justice. You get exactly what you deserve.
There's no grace.
There is no mercy. There is no savior who can step in and say, I'll take his bad karma. You have to work it off, lifetime after lifetime.
It sounds exhausting, just pure exhaustion. And the source mentions Maya. What is that?
Maya means illusion. In much of Hindu thought, the physical world, this table, our bodies, history itself, is an illusion. The goal is to wake up from the dream and realize you are part of the one Brahma.
Contrast that with Christianity.
Well, Genesis says God created the physical world and called it good. Jesus had a physical body. He ate fish after the resurrection.
Christianity validates matter. It says your body matters, your history matters.
While Hinduism tries to escape it.
That's a massive shift in how you view your daily life. Okay, let's pivot to Islam. This is the one people usually say is closest to Christianity.
It is the closest in some ways. It's monotheistic. We share some history. But the view of God, Allah, is fundamentally different in character.
The source uses the term distant.
Yes. In Islam, Allah is absolute unity. He is transcendent. He is great. But the source notes he is rarely presented as a father in the intimate relational sense that Christians know.
And what about the cross? Because for us, that's the center.
This is the deal breaker. For a Muslim, the idea that God would become a human, the incarnation, is blasphemy. It's lowering God. Why would the Creator become a creature?
And the idea that a prophet of God would be humiliated and killed on a cross.
Impossible. God protects his prophets.
So the cross, which for us is the ultimate victory, is seen as a shameful defeat.
Or a complete fabrication. Most Muslims believe Jesus didn't actually die on the cross, that God took him up beforehand. Because a powerful God wouldn't let that happen.
That completely removes the done.
It does. And regarding salvation, there is no done. It's the 5 pillars: prayer, alms, fasting. You build up your pile of good deeds, but the source points out that Allah is sovereign to the point of being capricious.
You can never be 100% sure the scales will tip in your favor.
Exactly.
That lack of assurance seems to be the common thread. In Buddhism, you have lifetimes of work. In Hinduism, you have the ladder. In Islam, you have the scales. In all of them, the listener is left asking, am I safe?
And the answer is always, maybe. Try harder.
Let's briefly touch on the dominant religion of the West. Secular humanism.
Or naturalism. The charts are brutal on this one.
What's the summary?
Reality is just matter and energy. You are a complex conglomeration of molecules that happen by chance. There is no God, no design.
So no do or done, just be.
And then end. There is no ultimate meaning, only the meaning you create for yourself.
So when you lay the options out, you are a molecular accident in humanism, you are a drop of water trying to cease existing in Buddhism, you are a servant hoping the scales tip in Islam, or you are a child of a father who died to save you.
When you put it that way, the uniqueness isn't just a theological detail. It's the whole story.
But this begs the question in segment 4, why did it have to be this way? Why the blood? Why the cross? Why couldn't God just be nice and forgive everyone without the drama?
This is the question of the century. And it gets to the character of God. The source lists 3 attributes: loving, holy, and just.
We like the loving part. God is love. That's the bumper sticker.
We love that part. But if you only have love and you drop holiness and justice, you don't have God anymore. You have a sentimental grandfather who doesn't care about justice.
But what about holiness? The source compares God's holiness to the distance of the moon.
Right. It's the grade on a curve fallacy. We tend to grade ourselves on a curve.
Uh,
I look at myself and think, I'm not Hitler. I'm not a serial killer. I'm better than my neighbor Bob who kicks his dog.
so I'm a B- student. I should pass.
Exactly. But the source argues God doesn't grade on a curve. He grades on a standard of absolute perfection. If God is the moon and you are standing on a chair and Hitler is standing in a hole, neither of you is touching the moon. The distance is infinite.
So we all failed the test.
We all fail. And because he is just, he can't just wink at the failure. Think about a human judge. If a judge has a murderer in front of him and the judge says, you know what, I'm a loving guy, I'm just going to let you go. Is that a good judge?
No, that's
Uh,
a corrupt judge. The victims would be screaming for justice.
Precisely. So God has a dilemma. He loves us and wants to save us, but he is just and must punish sin.
And the cross is the solution.
The cross is the intersection.
Yeah.
It is the only place in history where God satisfies his justice by punishing sin and satisfies his love by taking the punishment himself.
He pays the fine he imposed.
Exactly. And this leads to the story in the source that I think is the emotional core of this whole episode, the story of the three men.
This story gave me chills. It addresses the problem of suffering, which is the biggest hurdle for people.
Can you walk us through it?
Yeah. So it imagines Judgment Day, the end of the world. Billions of people are on the Great Plain before God's throne. But they aren't afraid. They are angry. They are shouting.
What are they shouting about?
They are shouting about the suffering they endured on earth. They are saying, how can God judge us? What does he know about pain? He lives in heaven where everything is perfect.
And then three men step forward.
Right. Three men step forward as representatives. The first is a Jewish man who died in a concentration camp. He rolls up his sleeve and shows the tattoo numbers. He says, I suffered unjustly because of my race. I was starved and beaten. What do you know about that?
Powerful.
The second man was born into poverty and died of a horrific, wasting disease. He shows his twisted limbs. He says, I suffered in my body. I never knew a day without pain. What do you know about that?
And the third man.
The third man. This one is hard. He was a father. His son was killed by a drunk driver. He says, I watched my son die a painful, shameful death while I could do nothing. What do you know about that?
They are putting God on trial.
They are. They appoint a committee to sentence God. They say before God can be qualified to judge humanity, he must suffer as a human.
And they write down the sentence.
They write, he must be born poor, he must be rejected by his own people, he must be betrayed by his closest friends, he must be tortured, he must die alone in the dark.
They are describing the passion.
And as they finish reading the sentence, a silence falls over the crowd. Because they look up at the judge on the throne, and they see the scars in his hands, they see the wound in his side.
They realize he has already served the sentence.
That's the moment. The source says no other religion presents a God who suffers with and for his creation.
In Islam, God is too great to suffer.
In Buddhism, the goal is to escape suffering.
In Christianity, God enters suffering to redeem it.
That changes how you pray when you're hurting. You aren't praying to a CEO in a skyrise office who has never had a bad day. You're praying to someone who knows what nails feel like.
That leads us perfectly into segment 5, deepening devotion. Because this can't just remain a head trip. We started this by asking, how does knowing this make us love him more?
It goes back to do versus done. If you believe it is done, the pressure is off. You move from must to want.
The source references the free gift passages in Ephesians and Romans. Think about getting a gift. If I give you a massive, expensive gift like a car, and you immediately reach for your wallet and say, how much do I owe you?
You've insulted the gift.
You've turned it into a transaction.
Right.
You're trying to regain control.
The dawn of Christianity means you put your wallet away. You say thank you, and that gratitude becomes the fuel for your life.
It reframes obedience. I don't stop sinning so that God will love me. I stop sinning because I am so loved, I don't want to hurt the one who loves me.
It's the difference between an employee and a child. An employee works for a paycheck out of fear of firing. A child, in a healthy home, obeys out of love and trust.
The source breaks down John 3:16. I know we see it on bumper stickers as background noise, but let's look at the words again. So loved.
Intensity. It's not a mild interest. It's a burning love.
Gave his only son.
The cost. It wasn't cheap. It cost him everything.
Whoever.
The scope. It's not for the elite. It's not for the good people. It's for whoever admits they are drowning.
A new person.
It's transformation. The Source uses this beautiful image. God isn't a force like gravity or Star Wars. A force doesn't care about you. He isn't just a judge. A judge doesn't come home with you. He is a father who wants to hold your hand.
That image, holding your hand, it's so simple, but it refutes deism, pantheism, all of it. A force doesn't hold hands.
And that's why the uniqueness matters. If Christianity were just be nice to people, it wouldn't have the power to comfort you when you're dying.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have the power to forgive you when you've really messed up. You need a savior, not just a teacher.
So let's bring this in for a landing. If we had to summarize the uniqueness of Christianity in one sentence based on all these charts and sources.
It is the only faith based on God reaching down to man, rather than man climbing up to God.
The only ladder where God climbs down.
And the only faith where the Creator pays the penalty for the creature.
I want to circle back to the beggar analogy we started with.
Christians are not arrogant. They are just one beggar telling another beggar where to find bread.
If you are listening to this and you've felt that tension, that fear of being exclusive, I hope this reframes it. It's not about being right. It's about having found a life preserver.
And if you find a life preserver, you don't hide it, you throw it to the next person.
Exactly.
Here is the final thought I want to leave you with, something to provoke a little reflection as you go about your day. If this done is real, how does that change the way you wake up tomorrow morning?
I love that question.
Most of us wake up with a to-do list. We wake up with the anxiety of performance. I need to be a better mom, a better boss, a better Christian.
What if you woke up with a done list?
What if your first thought was, I am already accepted, I am already worthy, now how do I live out of that joy?
That is a life that can actually change the world. Not out of guilt, but out of gratitude.
Amen to that. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. We'll see you next time.